Welcome back, Overwatch fans, to another amazing night. We have a fantastic match tonight, no question about it.
Oh my god, yes!
With the barrage! Make sure they can't even follow up afterwards.
And Losh has found 2 in this fight thus far. Make that 3, make that 4 right now here. Dynamic team gets a 4-man tire!
Those who find the picks will save the fights, and they don't really need to save what they've already won.
Hungry gets 3! Wins the Primal Rage!
Experience tranquility.
Good evening, Tranquility Gaming community, and welcome to our Wednesday night Transcendence tier feature match. I am Mr. Yeti. Joining me tonight is Bowsy, and we are bringing you Throwing or Bad, taking on Insidious. These are 2 new teams to the community this season. Both started off at 0-1, facing tough teams last week, tough losses for both. They're looking to bounce back here and make a statement right here on this broadcast this very Wednesday night. Bowsy, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Yeti, and I'm excited to see this match because, as you mentioned, both of these teams looking for redemption after getting swept last week. They want to try to get that train moving. They want to be able to get a good season overall. And this is the time to do it. This is the chance that they have to try and get that first win. And both of these teams looking really scary heading into this. I think it's going to be a good match we're going to be witnessing tonight.
It should be a fantastic match for sure. Throwing or Bad, bringing some names that we may recognize from Tranquility's past, and Shamanzi, Pro Gamer, Krev, Smarties on that roster as well. Insidious, an entirely new roster to Tranquility, so they are coming in, bringing in a lot of new talent, a lot of new hype, so we are certainly looking forward to that. Bowsy, is there any expectation you have from either of these teams tonight?
It's definitely going to be interesting. Either of these teams, again, they did get swept last week. It's going to be interesting to see which one comes out on top. I'm expecting a little bit better from Throwing or Bad. That's what I illustrated 2 days ago on predicting Tranquility. Throwing or Bad was really hyped up to start up the season, and I feel like there is a reason for that. There are a lot of Tranquility veterans, and they're the more well-known team. So I'm hopefully expecting them to do a little bit better. You have players like Shamanzi, Krev, who was on the Holy Jalapenos roster last season, and a lot of other players that can make a really good impact overall. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes out, but I think it's going to be Throwing or Bad. Insidious, however, they could pull an amazing win here and start their season off strong.
And neither team had an easy week last week. We saw Throwing or Bad taking on Devil Dukes, and that is not an easy matchup right now. Devil Dukes looking very strong after a very strong preseason showing. But Manifest as well took on Insidious, and that's a tough matchup for a brand new team, especially with how Manifest looked this preseason as well. So both these teams they're coming in after facing really tough competition. Both of them got beat 4-0. Really, we don't know in the end, we're not exactly sure what to expect here. So it could be interesting to see what exactly happens between these teams. I'm excited to see what Insidious brings in because they're brand new to Tranquility. So lots of new names we'll be talking about on the cast tonight. But these veterans on Throwing Your Bad, especially Pro Gamer, I'm expecting a little bit of Pharah play from them. And we all love a little Pro Gamer Pharah in our lives, especially those initiation barrages. Pro, what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how Throwing Your Bad do, especially with those compositions. Mentioning Pro Gamers Fair, and also you said, like, Insidious, this is their time to shine. If you want to make an impact here in Tranquility, especially toward the later half of the season, where we're talking All-Stars, Rolled Stars, all that sort of such, this is the moment to do it. This is your first feature match here in Tranquility. This is the time where you can be able to pop off. We're eventually going to be getting into the map here soon, but it's going to be interesting because these two teams, they obviously have had rough week ones. But we're going to be getting started when we get into the match on Lijiang Tower, which is our weekly map of the week. Every team is going to be playing Lijiang Tower as their first map tonight. So it's going to be interesting to see which team takes advantage of that sort of brawl style that we've seen here on Lijiang Tower, or if they decide to switch it up and go for something different.
That's what I kind of like about Lijiang Tower. I think it's one of those maps where you can really play a lot. There's a lot of kind of gimmicky comps you can play sometimes. There's also a lot of kind of unique styles you can play. You can play kind of that ball tracer comp that tends to be really common on Gardens. But then you get over to Night Market, you see a lot of Symmetra, but you also see Wrecking Ball with Far Mercy on that map a lot. Then you get over to Control Center, and Control Center you get a lot of Junkrat and Symmetra. You get a lot, sometimes Doomfist, some Sigma. You get Diva on some of the points. You really see a huge variety, and I think that's what's kind of awesome about Lijiang Tower itself. But as the teams are getting ready to get in there, just a really quick reminder, we do have additional production coming up this week, everybody. We are looking on Thursday. We do have the Discord tier. The Discord tier feature match between Rift and Rampaging Inferno. And then after that, we have Beat Drop. So make sure to tune in. Best way to keep in touch is you hit that follow button, you hit that bell. Make sure you catch every minute of Tranquility Gaming action as we kick it over now to Lijiang Tower.
And the first map we're going to be starting off here on Lijiang Tower is going to be Lijiang Garden, which is the more divey style of all three of these points here on Lijiang. This is the map where you really could get away with dive. And right now with the compositions being shown, we do indeed see a lot of dive heroes, mainly the 6-man dive composition, zombie composition, graveyard composition, whatever you call it, but it's being shown here on both sides for both Throwing Your Bad or Insidious. So it's all going to be a matter of which team is able to take advantage of those Sombra hacks, which team is going to be able to get all the damage pumping in, and which team is going to be able to win here as the gates are about to open. And we're about to get started with our second feature Transcendence tier match of the season.
All right, and here we go. Both teams looks like coming out on the 6-man compositions. We have a mirror match in front of us. It's going to oftentimes that can come down to which Symmetra reigns supreme. So we'll be keeping an eye on Pro Gamer and Alu here, seeing which one can build up that EMP first. Castelli brought very low and taken down by Krev, opening up the fight here for Throwing Her Bad with that early pickoff. You see a couple failed hacks come through, but Stinky returns it onto Patient here, so we have trades going both ways as the hack comes through onto Smarties, mitigating a lot of the healing that could come out from them with no orbs in play. We see the Reaper from Stinky and Krev both just going ham right now, building up those ultimates quickly, but Stinky takes advantage, finds Charlie there. Here comes the Coalescence now from Smarties, trying to retake this fight here for Throwing Your Bad as they push onto the point here, aggressing forward with that Coalescence. Stinky, though, spinning in with that Death Blossom, finds Krev, but he's taken down as well by Pro Gamer. But the point now does go to Insidious in this wild fight that yet continues to go on. But finally, Insidious gets the killing blows needed to finish that one off, and we are tacking up the points at 10 and counting.
Yeah, definitely Insidious able to make a little bit of advantage of that aggression. There was a hack there in the later part onto Patient so that they were unable to be able to push into the point, and thus Throwing Your Bad was just waiting for the perfect situation. That's when Insidious just used the Death Blossom from Stinky and were able to take that. But heading to the next fight, Throwing Your Bad do have some big ults of their own. They're going to start with the Diva Bomb. That's a 5-man EMP.
That's a 5-man EMP over there from Alu, and we see the bomb go up and over, but Insidious very intelligently just pushed through right when they engaged the bomb. Pro Gamer also used their own EMP, but Pro Gamer only found one because the team had already aggressed. So that was a very well taken fight by Insidious, and they got the EMP off the table. That went perfectly for them.
Really good engage there from Insidious, taking advantage of that sort of setup that Throwing Her Bad needed to try to make use of. They had the EMP, they just ran right past the EMP that Programmer wanted to use, and they were able to make the advance. But that's bad!
What a stun onto Krev there. Krev prevented from finishing that one off. Big play there from Insidious, but Charlie takes down Castelli with a big kill, and that is going to open things up here for Throwing Her Bad as the Coalescence again comes in from Smarties, and finally Throwing Her Bad getting some headway on this point as Charlie finishes off Cedic and the remaining kills come in. But at this point, we're looking at 82%, 83% now and counting for Insidious. Insidious has a huge leg up on this point.
And especially with this graveyard composition, they could just stall it out for as long as possible. Sorcerer looks like they will be the last casualty before the point ends up flipping in favor of the enemy of Throwing Her Bad. But still, really good stall there from Insidious. Now they only have one fight to be able to win this, and they have basically every ult in the bank ready for this next fight. And Throwing Her Bad, they had to use a lot of their ults to push into that objective, so it's going to be a lot harder for them at this point. They're all relying on Programmer's EMP right now.
The EMP is out.
Gets canceled.
It's huge from Alu. It cancels Pro Gamer, and that is the play Insidious needed to open up the fight and retake the point. A very quick and efficient team fight, and now Throwing Her Bad is desperately trying to throw themselves on the point here.
Yeah, Patient will be able to get there on the Wrecking Ball, but a Wrecking Ball versus Sombra is a very, very bad matchup, but Patient's already hacked up and already died to the hands of Alu. But now just Throwing Her Bad, trying to push in here. They do have this Diva Bomb from Chimanzi.
The Diva Bomb through the window does not quite connect, though. Well handled by Insidious, and Insidious will take Lijiang Garden here with a very convincing map victory.
Score.
Yeah, definitely really good setup there from the side of Insidious to be able to set up all those sort of plays. They made it so that they were the aggressors. They were doing everything much quicker than Throwing Her Bad and were able to make it work in the end. Throwing Her Bad took a little bit to really initiate all those pushes. The Diva Bomb came out, then the EMP came about 5 seconds later. You had the EMP try to come out, but Alu was quicker with the EMP. So Insidious is really just taking the aggression right now, and they're making that advantage through this. And now we're heading into Lijiang Control Center, which has a lot more brawl, but Throwing Her Bad showing the spam style with the Pharmacy.
They're bringing the Pharmacy in. That is a Pro Gamer special right there. Pro Gamer picking up the blue beam there from Charlie, and it does look like we're going to get that ball comp to go with it as well. So completely different looks now. After the mirror match, we get completely different looks, but the Symmetra Junkrat brawl can be really challenging to deal with, really for any composition on this map. But it's a completely different setup here, and I like the White Room being taken right now by this brawl comp, trying to find or basically stay alive, take some really tough angles for Pro Gamer to build up any real damage onto their team and look for opportunities to aggress onto the point here. And I expect them to push on. They do not push onto the point, and actually the point does go this time to Throwing Her Bad.
Yeah, right now it's just a waiting game here for Insidious, but the wait has lasted long enough as Sorcerer has been fall to the hands of Pro Gamer, and now that Pro Gamer starts to get the value now that Insidious are in that open area. So this is what Insidious want to try to avoid. They want to try to avoid having to be in these open areas so that Pro Gamer can be able to rain destruction on them with this Pharah. So they have to try and come up with a certain strategy, and I think they found it right now. Stinky switching over to the Cassidy and Alu switching over to the Tracer means they'll have a lot more sort of poke damage that could deal with Pro Gamer's Pharah. They're switching over now to the Ball Sigma composition, so we'll see if this makes any sort of change, or if Throwing Her Bad are going to be able to continue stabilizing here with this Pharah.
I think the wholesale changes were in order. If these changes pan out, we will see. But here we go now as Insidious is taking a very different approach to this. But there's the barrage from Pro Gamer, finding 3 of Insidious and sending this fight to really completion with about 3 seconds. Pro Gamer now with 5. Can they find the 6K? And they won't, but that's a 5K for Pro Gamer there to wrap up a very good fight, and 60% now for Throwing Her Bad.
Yeah, Throwing Her Bad had a lot of their players focused on Patient, who went in to try and distract the backline. He was stunned by about 3 people there on the side of Insidious, and just like that, Pro Gamer just had a free barrage in the making there. So really good play there by Throwing Her Bad to be able to make sure Insidious baited out all their cooldowns and took the advantage there. But now, Insidious might be able to get some real estate here on the point as Throwing Her Bad are on the outside.
Throwing her bad on the outside here. It's going to work out as a good initial. Oh, but that's a great kill on to Stinky by Pro Gamer. And Pro Gamer again on that Pharah, finding damage, but appears to be the only one right now as Insidious is getting the upper hand on the remainder of Throwing Her Bad. Pro Gamer is still full health, as I say that, of course, taken very low, is kept alive just till the very end by Charlie. Pro Gamer really the last hope right now on this point, and he's dropped by Alu, and Alu does manage to flip the point here for Insidious, but it's basically a mirror of last point now. 99% this time for Throwing Her Bad.
Yeah, definitely, and Alu made the critical play there for Insidious, being able to eliminate Charlie on the Mercy, meaning that Pro Gamer did not have their pocket ready for them, so great job there by Alu to realize that that was the win condition. Eliminate the support that's making the Pharah be able to do all this sort of stuff. So now, Insidious, they have to hold on for a little bit, but they have the ult to do it, and they have that beautiful stick.
That's a huge stick from Alu. That's going to buy a lot of time. Losing that Mercy early on is very, very critical for Throwing Her Bad's momentum here. No support for Pro Gamer, so they have to fall back. And that's going to buy at least 20 or so more percent for Insidious. And they still maintain 3 ults. It's a 1 ult fight, and it's the quickest ult in the game to build back up. It's a perfect situation.
Definitely. Insidious have a chance now to try and hold this out. They've already made 50% here on this progress, but Throwing Her Bad, they're setting up this sort of push. The Insidious have to be careful, however, because Pro Gamer, he's starting to make that move onto that open space and can get this barrage on the enemy team whenever he wants.
But Stinky has found Krev. Krev taken down. Here comes the self-destruct from Chimanzi. Not finding the target. Pro Gamer is looking for an opportunity to get in there with the barrage, and there it is. But it does not find anything. He did find Yukio beforehand, but now both healers are taken down as Alu and Castelli find the damage needed to get Insidious in control of that one. Really good pickoffs there onto the supports.
Yeah, definitely. Alu doing a great job thus far. And now it's actually forced Throwing Her Bad off this Pharmacy composition. Pro Gamer and Charlie switching over to the Cassidy and Brigida respectively. And you gotta be careful here if you're Throwing Her Bad. This is last fight territory that you're stumbling into, and all you have is this Pulse Bomb from Krev. This has to be a big Pulse Bomb coming out from Krev, or else Throwing Her Bad, they might be losing this first map to Insidious.
They very well might be losing this first map to Insidious. It's a tough one for Throwing Her Bad. Not the way they want to start, but we're 99-99. Looking at last fight as the mines come in from Patient. We see the visor in now from Stinky. Not finding the kills just yet, but Krev opens it up on the Sorcerer. That's a healer down now for Insidious, but Stinky finds 3, and Stinky looks to be finishing it off now for Insidious as Insidious takes Lijiang Tower.
Great adaptation there by Insidious to be able to combat that Pharmacy comp and just be able to bring it up against Throwing Her Bad there. Throwing Her Bad did not really have a good answer to the Alu's Tracer, to all that sort of plays. Pro Gamer will get the play of the game, but outside of that, Throwing Her Bad just need to try to work on their adaptation skills, because it's interesting to see what they're going to be doing as the match goes on, because this is obviously a rough point for them, and it's going to be interesting to see how Throwing Her Bad adapt. They do get the second map choice, so we'll see if they're able to adapt, or if Insidious is just going to be able to adapt better, make moves faster, and be able to take this series a little bit better.
You know, Insidious came out really strong there. What I liked about them is the target focus on the priority targets. It's exactly what you need to do in those scenarios. I really liked what they were doing, putting a lot of focus on the Smarties and Charlie. Makes it really hard, especially on that Pharmacy comp. If you're going to be pressuring those healers, there's really 2 ways to approach that Pharmacy comp oftentimes when you're playing against it. You can either try to focus on the Pharah, or you can basically ignore the Pharah and go after the rest of the team. And Insidious appeared to take the latter approach there, and it worked really well. It worked to perfection almost. They put all 6 against 4, and as good as Pro Gamer was at putting in a lot of damage, it just wasn't enough damage to really compensate for the fact that the rest of the team was just getting rolled over by Insidious at that point. So Insidious did exactly what they needed to do to really open it up right now, and I really like what I'm seeing from them, coming out with a 2-0 win on that map. Great start from Insidious, and a really good momentum builder. You know, oftentimes in these matches, it can be a lot about momentum. I talk about that a lot on these casts. Momentum can be everything. So getting that early 1-0 is a really big deal. You go into the next map, you pull out the win there. Suddenly you're staring at a situation where you only got to win 1 more map out of 3 in order to walk away with a match win. So, you know, the momentum can be really big here for Insidious, but now it's up to Throwing Her Bad to get a rebound as they move to our assault map. So Insidious right now is in control, but Throwing Her Bad, now is the opportunity to bounce back, see how that mental can handle the tough loss there on Lijiang.
Definitely. It's going to be interesting to see what Throwing Her Bad decide to go for. Obviously, Insidious, being able to do those sort of counters, be able to know how to play against these certain comps, might be able to hurt them, might actually hurt Throwing Her Bad in the long run. As we head over to our second map, Throwing or Bad has chosen Temple of Anubis for our second map of the series, and that is, of course, our assault map. 2CP unfortunately still exists here in Overwatch 1. Eventually we'll get rid of it. Eventually when Overwatch 2 comes out in the next 5 years at this point. But it's going to be interesting to see what Throwing Bad decide to come out with. Do we still see that Pharah style, or do we see something different? Like, do we see 6-man? Do we see Brawl? Do we see anything that could be throwing a wrench into Insidious's plans and be able to take them and sweep them out under their feet?
You know, I'm not exactly sure what to expect right now from Throwing Her Bad. I think, honestly, what works, I think when you're in a situation they're in right now, when you have a tough loss to bounce back from, I think you need to revert back to some of those comfort picks and those picks that you can be really comfortable on. I expect to see Pro Gamer on the Far Mercy here, because I feel like Far Mercy, Point A, Anubis can be really powerful. That said, Point A, Anubis, you can do quite a bit. There's a lot of ways to approach it, and you can really handle it in a variety of ways. I mean, you can even do the insane strategy of teleporting a Bastion around. You can run a Junkrat, Torbjorn, Soldier 76, Widowmaker, Hanzo. There's a wide variety of heroes you can run on this map. That's why it's pretty much my favorite 2CP map, which is a really controversial opinion, I believe.
It definitely is a really good 2CP map. This is really in contention for Hanamura and for like the best 2CP map. Volsky is probably also up there. But it definitely is an interesting map because it allows for those different sort of compositions. You could run stuff on Anubis that couldn't really work anywhere else. We've seen compositions like Junkrat Ashe that have worked on this map before. Torb Ashe has worked on this map before. Junkrat Cassidy has worked here before. A lot of different comps have worked here on Anubis, and it really shows just how diverse this map can be for compositions. And right now, looking at the compositions, it's definitely interesting to see what you're seeing with Throwing Her Bad on the defense, because right now they're showing a composition that, I mean, I alluded to one of the heroes. I alluded to the Ashe. I did not allude to Pro Gamer's Pharah.
Exactly. No, and that is that's a real thing and a real threat. We've seen it be dominant in Tranquility over the past few seasons. We've seen it pull off massive upsets. We've seen it take a team to the finals. So it is a real threat here in the Transcendence tier. But you know, it's a team game. Pro Gamer can't do it on their own. I'm sure the rest of Throwing Her Bad are ready to rise to the challenge here and come back against Insidious here. Insidious is rolling out with the Ball Diva comp, which is a really, really good way to break this double shield.
Definitely. It allows for these sort of multi-angle approach that the enemy team can take. They do have this Echo Tracer as well, so they're going to be able to do a lot of poke. And they also have that ball to just boop up Patient off the high ground, so that's already very bad here, but big pick from Krev.
That was Krev, did a fantastic job taking out Pokemon X, Y, you know, Gen 7, not exactly my favorite generation, but each
Gen
their
6.
own. It's Gen 6? I didn't really like Gen 6 either, for what it's worth. You know, I get them both screwed up. They're kind of a blur in my head at this point, but Pro Gamer finds Sorcerer as well. No magic in store for Insidious, as Insidious does find a kill now on the Patient, as they continue to try to push through here, but it's going to be tough right now with being a couple players down. But the reinforcements will come sooner right now as this long scratch fight continues.
Yeah, this is really what Insidious are going to have to rely on. These long, scrappy fights, but the scrappiness is only going to get worse when you've lost 2 to Krev.
That's true. Smarties is down. Losing a healer who will take a long time to get back will hurt them. So a soft reset is in order for Insidious, and they do appear to be finally following suit. We're at 2 minutes and 40 seconds, though. That was a good first fight here from Throwing Her Bad.
Absolutely, and I think if you're Insidious, you probably want to push him very fast. Charlie had to use the res to get Smarties back up onto the field. So if you're Insidious, that res is offline. That means you can try to get a pick and be able to secure yourself a 5v6 situation here. So they have to either act fast or have to worry about that res coming back up online and losing the next fight.
The mines put in right now from K-Stelly, not really impactful quite yet. Bob thrown onto the point now from Krev as well to mitigate that point pressure. But Pokemon XY finds Pro Gamer, and the double stick from Alu on Tracer finds both Krev and Shim, and just a little too spicy there for Throwing Her Bad from Alu, and that's going to really open it up here. And Insidious is going to take this one with 2 minutes on the clock.
It definitely seems interesting that you see Insidious still running this Ana, but obviously that nano boost onto Alu was the main key. They were able to keep that Tracer alive, be able to build that Pulse Bomb, and find that 2K that pretty much secured them the fight. So Insidious will get point A. There's not many swaps on the side of Throwing Our Bad for point B here, so it's going to be interesting to see what they roll out with. They do have this Flux and Barrage online, so we might see those as Insidious planning for their next attack here. Alu's already looking for some sort of backline pressure.
Alu is, but that's a big early pickoff from Pro Gamer onto Sorcerer. That's going to definitely make it a tough push now in for, it's going to make it a really tough push now. Again, spawn advantage now rests firmly in the hands of the defense here on this point, and Sorcerer and the rest of Insidious are going to back off and reset.
Yeah, right now, Throwing Her Bad, they did a really good job there by being the aggressor. They pushed in with Chimanzi's Graphitic Flux, and were able to make the advance into that fight. So now they're pushing into this, now they're ready for the next fight, and Insidious are now going to be the aggressors.
Pokemon XY finds Charlie as well, but the kills are trading right now. And again, with spawn advantage in the defense's hands, the kills will continue to trade, but that will play in the favor of Throwing Her Bad. We see the copy now put in as well, but here comes the ultimate for Pro Gamer, but Pokemon XY cancels that one out. Here comes the lift now from Pokemon XY onto Patient. Patient dropped to half health, but it's right back in there again. No ticks taken yet as Kreb taken down by K-Stelly, finding two now with Smarties going down, and the ticks start building up now for Insidious. Pokemon XY finds Charlie as well. The ball slams in, not able to find anything. We see Diva Bomb invested, not finding any significant targets there, but Pokemon XY continues to prove my statement wrong about Gen 6, taking down Chimanzi as well. Yukio to find Smarties, and despite the slam in there from Patient, trying to spin this one back for Throwing Her Bad. They aren't finding any critical kills yet. But as I say that, Pro Gamer picks off one, and now Yukio down, losing that support, but the res in from Sorcerer. Teams continue to trade kills here, but finally the kills are turning back in favor of the Trash Cat for Throwing Her Bad. And they spin it back, and finally Throwing Her Bad is able to maintain it, but 52% on the ticker there for Insidious. That's not a bad attack with 2 minutes 30 seconds left.
And there's your trademark 2CP moment of the week right now. And Throwing Her Bad just being able to stall it out there and be able to reclaim this point here just barely by the skin of their teeth. But now they only have 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and Insidious, they do have to try and get those last two ticks. They did get 52%, so we are not going to be hitting a draw unless Insidious cap this point all the way. It's going to be interesting to see what Insidious try to go for here. Obviously, this Echo of Pokemon XY is working in favor of them. They want to have this Echo for that intense damage, get it that duplicate online, and be able to make that push. So we'll see if they decide to make use of that right now, because Pokemon XY is only a quarter away from another ult.
Pokemon XY has been so impactful on that Echo so far. And Krev, ooh, that's unlucky for Krev there. You hate to see it, but it, you know, motivated by their fallen comrade here, the rest of Throwing Her Bad seems to be pushing in and taking back. Perhaps it was a distraction tactic.
Potentially, it could have also been there to burn down one of the members of Insidious so that they were able to fall a little bit easier. But I like what Throwing Her Bad did there. They used Patient's mines to be able to separate the rest of Insidious. 3 people were on one side of the mines, the other were on the other side, and the only way you could get from one side to the other was by going through the mines and taking the damage, which I believe did get at least one pick there. So Throwing Her Bad able to separate Insidious and then just pile onto the different groups and be able to get those kills at the end. So well played there by Throwing Her Bad. Now Insidious, they do have some ults moving into this next fight, so they do have that potential to be able to win this, and they do have that duplicate from Pokemon XY, which did get them that percentage last time.
Mines back onto the back line now from K-Stelly. That's going to make it really tough that Brigitte is now caught in spawn. And Smarties is taking down no heals right now on the point for Throwing Her Bad, and that is a rough situation. Charlie trying to mow down those mines, but they can't push through it quick enough as Pokemon XY finishes off Krev. Pokemon XY's Echo has been absolutely outstanding so far. The slam in from K-Stelly, but it takes the Biotic Grenade, but the damage is done here as Insidious now is working on those final kills. We see dueling Diva Bombs on the point, and the one who finds it is Scenic, taking Chimanzi out before Chimanzi can remech. K-Stelly with the pile driver on the Krev, dropping Krev as well. The kills right now, we see these staggered out kills, but the staggered out respawns right now for Insidious, or for Throwing Her Bad. It's going to make it a challenge as Pro Gamer gets a key pick.
That is a big pick onto Ukiyo there. That could make the difference. He got 2 in this fight thus far. Pro Gamer trying to bring it back here on the Doomfist. This Doomfist might make the difference, and the rest gets killed as well. Oh, Pro Gamer trying to bring it back here, and it looks like it's going to work here for Throwing Her Bad.
That, my friends, was what we call a Pro Gamer move, and Pro Gamer clutches up when Throwing Her Bad needed it most. 75%, a respectable attack there for Insidious nonetheless, but clutched up when they needed to. Pro Gamer with Throwing Her Bad. That is a big momentum swing right there. Pro Gamer doing what needed to get done to keep Throwing Her Bad in this, and really more than likely prevent that dreaded draw that we hate so much on these two CPs.
And it's not that Insidious were really doing that bad. Pro Gamer just went absolutely pop-off moment there. You had the ball mind play being able to separate Charlie from the rest of the team. That already eliminated one of your supports in that battle. I ended up seeing, I believe it was Ukiyo on the Ana, select Pro Gamer when they tried to pile drive them and try to get them out of the fight. But it just wasn't enough. Pro Gamer was still able to get that value and turn it in the favor of Throwing Her Bad, which is insane. So great job there from Throwing Her Bad to put the trust into Pro Gamer and be able to get that hold. They did, however, leave 75% out to Insidious. So now if they want to try to take the win here on Anubis, they have to take at least 75% of point B. And looking at the defense here from the side of Insidious, they're running with the exact same composition. They're running this Ball Diva Tracer Echo comp that we saw them run last time. We might be seeing a pause come out here as there seems to be some issues here. Yep, we are going to be seeing the pause.
We are in a pause.
Yep, it was Insidious that ended up causing a pause. Obviously, the internet is very beautiful, but it also is very flawed, so it can cause a lot of problems. Hopefully we'll get into this soon, but it's really interesting to see that even with Insidious knowing what to do, having these sort of adaptations, there's still some things that they can't adapt to, and they're still having a little bit of trouble being able to close it out in the end.
It was very interesting. I mean, we saw really well played, really well done attack there in general from Insidious. I was really impressed with Pokemon XY and Alu, both of them, but K Stelly has been really quite fantastic on that Wrecking Ball so far, as we've seen. They got a lot of value pretty much the entire time. It felt like every pile driver they were getting on that back line, making life really hard for Smarties and Charlie. And that has to be a key for them as to why they're doing so well. But it seemed like every time Insidious was about to take it, there was one person who showed up in that kill feed to clutch it up, and that was Pro Gamer. It seemed to be very consistent. So that's exactly what they need to do in order to get that done. And I'm certainly impressed by what we're seeing there from both teams.
Head back into the map now. The pause is undone, and we see that Pharmacy once again coming out from the side of Throwing Her Bad. So they want to put their trust into this, but is it enough when, that happens?
That is not what you want to see right there for Throwing Her Bad. Let's get an early reset here. It's only 3 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock. You hate to see it, but you know what? Here's another pause. So we'll just go back to pause.
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, there's definitely a little bit of internet issues on the side of Insidious. They ended up having a player needed to reset because of an issue with their game, obviously, so that can happen. Definitely a good start here from Insidious to be able to hold that off. And also, let it be known, Pokemon XY landed all their sticky bombs onto Pro Gamer in order to get that kill. That's not easy when you're an Echo player challenging a Pharah. Like, that is incredibly difficult, and they were able to do it so easily. So well played to Pokemon XY to be able to get that off. So it's gonna be interesting to see what Throwing Her Bad decided to do here. They have switched over to an Echo of their own before we went to the pause. That was what they ended up doing. So we'll see if that makes any sort of impact. But right now, Insidious, based off the first 30 seconds, showing that they are willing to contend with this team.
They absolutely are. And Insidious is looking really good. I like I said, I'm really impressed with Alu and Pokemon XY. K Stelly has been amazing so far. The whole team has done really well, countering a lot of what we've come to expect from a lot of the players on Throwing Her Bad. But Pro Gamer continues to be just the player that we've seen them be pretty much all since they started. Pretty much since they started here in Tranquility, they clutch up when time's needed. They make the big plays to keep their team in it, and that's an impressive thing. That is a thing that you can't really, there's a phrase a lot in sports. It's kind of like the clutch gene, if you will, where there's certain people, certain times when going gets really tough and you need somebody to step up. That's the player who gets the ball. That's the player who takes the final shot. It seems like Pro Gamer right now is that person for Throwing Her Bad. But you got to give it to the rest of Throwing Her Bad as well. We've seen Shimanzi and Patient get some really big setup plays to help open things up for Krev and Pro Gamer. So it's one of those matches tonight where I feel like we're not going to have a simple one. This isn't going to be one of those easy 4-0s, I have a feeling, for really either team. I think we're going to have a nice back and forth matchup here. And really, for Throwing Your Bad, you get 75% on point 2, but you hold them on point 2. You got to be feeling pretty darn good. You got to start thinking to yourself, that's how you bounce back mentally. That's the winnable moment. That's the one where you're sitting there thinking, like, we got this. We can cap it. We've capped Temple Anubis dozens, hundreds of times. If you play comp, you get into Temple Anubis once every 4 maps, it seems like. So you understand what I'm saying. You've done this map a million times. Capping that second point is easy, except for the part where it is. It's not at all. We all love 2CP. That's why we're happy it's gone.
Yeah. We all love 2CP in this house. We all respect it, and we're really excited to never see it again once Overwatch League, when Overwatch 2 finally comes out in the year 2028 at this rate. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this team really reacts to that, because again, Insidious, they have been looking pretty good, but obviously Throwing Her Bad having that little bit of struggle. But we're going to see if they're going to be able to come back from that.
Right now for Insidious, it is a good opportunity, though, to make a statement. Again, we talked about with these new teams, you're coming into Tranquility. Tranquility has such an extensive lore, when you really look at going back into our history, talking about these teams who, teams who've been here forever, the players who've been here forever, who built that legacy. Chimanzi is a former champion. Pro Gamer, not a former champion, but a multi-time all-star. Krev, former champion as well. These are players with extensive experience here in Tranquility in high-pressure situations. You got a new team coming in and just making an impact immediately. This is the kind of statement that you want to make if you want to get your team talked about. If you want to make that statement where, this is not a team to be looked over. Just because we're new doesn't mean we're pushovers here. We're here to make our name in Tranquility. And right now, you got to give it to Insidious. They're definitely doing that.
Yeah, Insidious, might have a little bit of issue because Sorcerer has to run back with spawn, but she actually got boosted there by Castelli. Castelli went back to spawn to pick them up, so great job there from Insidious to be able to set that up. But now you've opened up the room here for Throwing Her Bad, who are going to start pushing in quickly.
But Patient is dropped quickly by Castelli and the rest of Insidious. With Patient going down quickly there, the rest of Insidious is now pushing in, but Castelli LOS the healers there and is dropped super fast. And that is a tough spot for Castelli. But here we go. We're seeing a lot of very interesting kind of separate fights in 1v1s. We saw Smarties dueling with Alu for a bit. We see the aerial battle going on between Pro Gamer and XY. We see Pokemon XY now finding Patient as well. There's just so many little skirmishes going around. It's kind of hard to keep track of.
Yeah, pretty much. There's just a bunch of individual fights happening at once right now. Insidious and Throwing Her Bad are pretty much having 2 separate fights here on the points and trying to decide who's going to win it. But at the end of the day, Insidious, they're just able to stabilize a little bit better than Throwing Her Bad. And it looks like they're going to be taking the fight win here for the first fight. And now that's 2 minutes burned off the clock here for Throwing Her Bad. And they need to come up with answers. They do have this pulse on from Krev coming online, but is it going to be enough?
Well, they don't
no, he's already dead.
Yeah, they don't have Krev online anymore, and that is a brutal situation. Now, Pulse Bomb came in from Alu, not finding anything. The Pokemon XY finishes off Pro Gamer. And again, just a fantastic defense. They're chasing them all the way back to spawn for the D-Mech. That's a huge stagger there. The purple did come in. Big biotic grenade from Smarties, but that's just not enough to set up Throwing Her Bad for any more kills. And with that stagger now on a Chimanzi, it's a tough spot. Oh, and Chimanzi killed at the very end, right before the remech. You hate to see it.
Really hate to see it here for Throwing Her Bad, and it's gotten so desperate that Charlie switched over to a Brigida now off the Mercy, so they obviously want to have a little bit more stun power. And Pokemon XY, for the second time, gets all their stickies onto Pro Gamer and eliminates them on the Echo. This has just been, it's just been a mechanical showdown right now.
Pokemon XY is bringing their A game on the Echo. That has been outstanding to watch tonight. And again, the ultimate economy right now for both these teams is really close, Bowsy. But I think right now all the momentum is in the hands of Insidious. They're just winning these 1v1s constantly.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, but the duplicate comes out from Pro Gamer, so there's going to be obviously a push coming out here from Throwing Her Bad. Will be able to work. Oh, Smarties is dead, though.
Smarties is dead early, but to the honest have now traded out, and the bomb for Pro Gamer finds Alu. We did see the sticky grenade get eaten as well by Chimanzi, which is a big ultimate mitigated there, but the kills continue to come in for Pokemon XY. Just finding consistent value on this Echo, but Chimanzi finally finds a kill into Pokemon XY. We see the Diva Bomb invested to get back into the mech by Scenic, but Scenic is last hope, it seems like. But here comes back Alu. Reinforcements are on the way. They need to find a kill quickly. If you're Throwing Her Bad, they just demech Scenic, but Chimanzi also demech. And here comes the reinforcements now for Insidious. This is not over.
Oh, that was a bad move. Castelli booped Smarties out of the pulse bomb from Alus. So that ended up making it so Smarties didn't die there. They did end up dying in the fight, but now it looks like Insidious are starting to bring this back, despite the fact that Throwing Her Bad have the spawn advantage.
We saw Charlie find Sorcerer. That's a huge kill for Throwing Her Bad. Getting a healer off the map, but Yukio is still there. But Yukio very low and down. Now no healers for Insidious. Damage may already be done with only Chimanzi now and Smarties on the point. And here comes the rest of the reinforcements now for Throwing Her Bad as the mines are put in by Castelli. Castelli's mines take Pro Gamer down, and Castelli finds Smarties as well. That's 3-4 kills now for Castelli. And Castelli now with 5. Castelli and the rest of Insidious will take the full hold here on Temple of Anubis, and Insidious goes up 2-0 in this matchup.
I think we have just seen how good Insidious can be in terms of being able to get rid of that sort of stall. They were able to stall that out so well against Throwing Her Bad and be able to bring it into their favor. Well played by Insidious to be able to stall that out. That is hard to do on Anubis Point A, but they just kept piling bodies onto the point. They had those quick respawn characters. They were able to just get back in, get those damage that they needed to, get the crucial picks that brought it into their favor. And in the end, Insidious now going into the half are 2-0 and could be taking this series when we get back from halftime. This would be big because we talked about Insidious making first impressions in Tranquility, defeating Throwing Her Bad, which has a lot of Tranquility veterans. That would be a big start to Insidious this season.
That is a huge start for Insidious right there. Going into if you come out here, you make a big statement against a team the caliber of Throwing Her Bad, the expectations on Throwing Her Bad this season. That is quite the statement to make here. Really only one loss against one of the top teams in the tier this early on, and then you come out and you beat up Throwing Her Bad. You know, that's a fantastic start if you're looking at Insidious there. And looking at the rest of their schedule, they got a bye next week possibly, and then they do have potentially a couple tougher matches coming up, but they could be setting themselves up for a really good stage one and putting themselves in fine shape as we move through the midpoint of the season.
Absolutely, and it's going to be interesting to see if Insidious will be able to bring it out here against Throwing Her Bad, or if they're going to be coming back. When we get back from halftime, we'll be able to see if Insidious will close it out, or if we're going to be seeing a reverse sweep here in the Transcendence tier. We'll see you after the break.
So baby, take my hand.
And welcome back, everybody, to our Tranquility Gaming feature match tonight between Insidious and Throwing or Bad. I am Mr. Yeti. Welcome back, guys. We have a fantastic match so far tonight, I have to say. Bowsy, what do you think?
It definitely has been a fantastic match. We've seen a lot of teams be able to show their sort of styles here. Obviously, Throwing or Bad showing that mostly Pharah, but Insidious showing that they can counter the Pharah and be able to bring a lot of fights back from the brink of defeat, especially there on Anubis. So it's going to be interesting to see how this match turns out as we're about to head into our third map, which again is another map choice by Throwing or Bad, and they've chosen the ever so famous, or infamous depending on how you think of it, King's Row for our third map.
King's Row, oftentimes the map that people will use to begin to fire up those horns for the beep beep reverse sweep. We've seen it time and time again. It's a tale as old as time here in Tranquility. You get to map 3, let's fire up that King's Row. Pull the Reinhardts out and get your shields up and just see what happens and let those hammers fly. And I fully expect to see that from both these teams as the brawl commences in the streets of London here on King's Row. It should be a fantastic map here, Bowsy. I always love this one, and it's a great map to really turn around a match because it kind of invites certain compositions. It's one of those maps where you can really just get some awesome attacks. You can really get, it's high pace, it's high energy. Everybody knows how to play this map well. So it's just one of those maps where you can really just get the ball rolling and get going as a team. And I love this map when things are down, when you need to reset a mental, because it's just, you just know how to play it. It's innate. Everybody knows it. Since GOATS, it's been the same map, and it probably is going to be the same map right now, too.
Absolutely, and it's also worth noting, Insidious making some swaps coming into this next map. They're switching out K-Stelly and Alu out of this map. Hype is coming in on the main tank role, and Stinky is coming back in on the DPS role. So obviously they're deciding to change up a little bit of their strategy. We saw a lot of ball play coming out from K-Stelly. Maybe K-Stelly is their ball player and Hype is their Reinhardt specialist. So we're going to see what the plan is for the enemy team. As right now here on King's Row, seeing the compositions right now, we already see that brawl comp in the spawn room for Insidious. But right now, the enemy team of Throwing or Bad showing the double shield Ashe Pharah composition.
Double shield Ashe Pharah composition, a little different than what we'd expect on this map, but you know, at the same time, we're seeing different stuff from both teams here. I called for the Reinhardts, I called for the shields, and both teams say, no, Mr. Yeti, you're very much in gold right now. You should consider trying other things.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Reinhardt is a very viable strat, but you can run other things. We did get into a pause here. My guess is it had to do something for the side of Throwing or Bad, and yes, it was a Throwing or Bad issue. Apparently, according to Chimanzi, a hair emergency. I don't know. I don't want to know what that means.
I don't know what that means, but they did make a point to @Smarties in the chat, and I do believe that's not a good sign for Smarties there, the hair emergency. You hate to see it. That's your assistant tier director, folks. You hate to see it.
You hate to see it indeed, but about to get into King's Row right now, and as you mentioned, no Reinhardt on either side. It's a dive comp coming out from Insidious here to try and counter the double shield of Throwing or Bad. This could work if they're able to set it up properly.
It could work pretty well. I do like the composition choice here. It's and Hype now switches over to the Wrecking Ball here off of the Winston. So we get Wrecking Ball, Diva, double shield with the Genji. This is a feisty composition right now from Insidious, and I do like that quite a bit. The point pressure begins now with Pokemon XY sitting on that Echo as the shots rain in from Pro Gamer, looking for any opportunity to really get a kill. Not seeing those sticky bombs connecting here, but the Genji moves up and looking for getting people to target, but not finding anything. There's just kind of this weird staging moment where really nobody's dying, and then Patient dies.
Yeah, Patient unfortunately falls to the hands of Hype there. Pretty much what Insidious are doing is they're just separating all the rest of the members of Throwing or Bad and picking them off one by one. And you see the kills coming in here. Stinky getting 2 on the Genji. And that's going to be the point there for the side of Insidious. Pro Gamer able to get 2 in the backline, but with the spawn room being right there and the fight already being lost, this is just a lost fight here for Pro Gamer. Just going to have to try to wait it out here on this Pharah. Might be able to bait he's trying to bait the DPS back, which might work, but still, you're going to be down 2 if you're Throwing or Bad here. You got to try to figure out a way to reset this.
And Pro Gamer is in, he is in big something. I don't know what to describe there, but that is, what is happening?
I don't know.
Pro Gamer, where are you? What are you doing?
Why
Pro
is this
Gamer,
working?
why are you? How is it working? How are you finding 2 kills? I don't understand. And the fight is ongoing on the cart as the rest of Insidious went after Pro Gamer. They finally take Pro Gamer out of the sky, but not before Pro Gamer suddenly just stops the cart. I have no idea what's going on, Bowser, but the blade is in for Stinky. He gets the nano boost from Yukio, and Stinky swinging his way through all of throwing her mad there, and the team kill is almost complete as Chimanzi dies on the card here, but Insidious is going to get to push this thing here right up close to point B through the streets of Kings Row.
So now the play that Pro Gamer was doing makes sense as he has switched over to the Mei. That makes a lot more sense because if he was staying on that Pharah, I think we all had questions about what he was planning there. But we're going to be seeing a comp swap coming out here from the side of Throwing Her Bad. They're switching over to the Orisa D.Va. They have this Brigitte be able to stop any dives, but now there's an Orisa on the enemy side.
Orisa now on the enemy side here for Pokemon XY, already up to that bongo, and there goes the bongo for Pokemon XY. Scenic finds Pro Gamer. The kills are trading right now, though. This is a tough point to get reinforcements back in. But Scenic taking down Pro Gamer, losing that Mei is big. Scenic with the bomb as well. Pokemon XY finds Chimanzi as well. So these are just tough points right now, tough kills. But it seems like all the kills are right now going in favor of Insidious as they continue to just apply pressure, consistent pressure to Throwing Your Bad.
The pressure that Insidious have been able to put onto the enemy team here has just been monumental. The enemy team of Throwing Your Bad just don't really have an answer right now to Insidious's plays. And they're wacky, they're very wacky plays, no doubt. Like, you rarely see Ball D.Va on this map, but it's still working in favor of Insidious. That bomb's going to catch out of Pokemon XY here, so there might be an attempted hold here from the side of Throwing Your Bad. It looks like that's exactly what they're going to be doing, but you wasted your D.Va bomb now. You've lost that very crucial ult that could have turned to fight around, and you're heading into this next fight. You do have ults online, but will it be enough to be able to hold off this for 4 minutes?
4 minutes is a tough situation, but you finally get to stem that momentum here, and you have some ultimates in the bank, so you got to feel pretty good right now. And here comes the engagement. Oh, Scenic finds Pro Gamer, and Pro Gamer dies afterwards too. It's the worst case scenario for Throwing Her Bad, and we check the time, and it's high noon for Cassidy, with Krev finding Sorcerer. Losing that Mercy is a big kill here, and Krev finds Hype as well. So Krev opening things back up right now for Throwing Her Bad to really close this thing out. And despite the good situation that oh no.
Goodbye, Pokemon XY.
Goodbye, Pokemon XY.
As Smarty types in the chat, obviously just keeping him away. But still, very interesting play there, and I really like how Krev was able to bring that back there for the side of Throwing Her Bad. But now it's going to be bad here for Throwing Her Bad, considering that their Baptiste is now running back from spawn, so it's going to be challenging for them. They're backing up to a different corner here to be able to stabilize, and it's going to give a little bit of room here to the enemy side of Insidious. And Insidious have some big ults coming out. They have that Nano Blade online if they want to use that to engage.
And that was a good kill there for Pro Gamer. They're going to force the res out. Here comes the Nano Blade for Stinky. And Stinky finds Smarties. That's one support down, looking for Sorcerer. I'm sorry, looking for Charlie. Not able to find Charlie, however, but Krev finds both supports of Insidious. And Krev right now is popping off on this Cassidy. And that's exactly what is needed here for Throwing Her Bad. The bomb is invested by Pokemon XY, but not finding anything as the kills continue to come in now for Throwing Her Bad. And they finally seem to be stemming this tide and really turning it around.
Yeah, really good play there from Throwing Bad as they're going to be investing the D.Va bomb into this. We'll get Scenic on that baby D.Va, but definitely really good play there. They ended up rotating through the Mega Health Pack room and being able to get onto the backside of Insidious. That's where Krev and Chimanzi were, just pumping in the damage to the back line, and that's how they were able to find the supports that easily. So really good move there from Throwing Her Bad to be able to make that sort of engage and know when the time was to be able to make that sort of engage and be able to get that fight into their favor. But now you're pushing into a rough situation. For one, there's a D.Va bomb, and your main tank is dead.
There's a big blizzard though, but it's not finding anything, but it does zone out Insidious.
Got the ball.
That is a big pick there though, finding Hype. Now both main tanks down, but Stinky finds Krev. We see the rally now in from Charlie as they push forward, trying to get the team, get Throwing Her Bad, moving forward, finding the Genji. Really good aggression there from Charlie, pushing up onto the Genji.
Yeah, that was a high-risk, high-reward player there from Charlie, and they did get the Genji in that play, so really good job there from Throwing Her Bad to be able to make that work, but still there's pressure coming out from Insidious. Insidious is willing to continue this fight and win it here.
good push in there right now. Smarty's finding Stinky, and that is a really strong start here for Throwing Her Bad. Again, Throwing Her Bad is, ever since we got to this point, they just seem to be completely stonewalling right now. Insidious, and I have to wonder for Insidious, is it time for a composition change? Because really, you can't get the alternative attacking angles here that they were able to get out in the streets.
Definitely. They need to try to figure out what to do here. They have switched Scenic over to Sigma, but I don't think that's going to be enough because all that's going to supply is more burst damage. They do have this Nano Blade, however, so this can make an impact, and it already has. Oh, that's brutal!
That's
Stinky!
brutal.
Oh, get that man in the shower!
Stinky finds the kills needed as the DPS duo, Stinky and Pokemon XY pushes through the entirety of Throwing Her Bad, and that is a tough spot for Throwing Her Bad now as that cart approaches point C here in the Foundry of Kings Row. Slam in for Patient, but here comes the copy for Pokemon XY, copying the Cassidy, seeing if they can match what Krev has been putting forth so far. Here comes the High Noon from Pokemon XY, not finding the targets though. The bomb is invested from Chimanzi, finds Hype, keeping that main tank is big, but there's not a whole lot left right now for Throwing Her Bad. They have, standing on the point right now is Patient, and if you can hold out till 0 seconds, that is a key moment here. Here comes the Blizzard now, and the Blizzard now from Pro Gamer, that's going to really set things up potentially here for a Throwing Her Bad comeback, but Throwing Her Bad is throwing this one away, unfortunately, it seems. And oh no, Stinky, you hate to see it for Krev. That is a brutal situation, but the rally now in from Charlie. Charlie trying to spin around with that flail, but here comes Hype and those mines just doing a lot of damage right now, and that is just enough. It looks like we're Insidious. No, not yet. Here comes Krev, and Krev is down, and there we go. Insidious pushes through for the full cap, but it is worth noting, Bowsy, the full cap, but at 0 seconds. So it is definitely a situation where, you know, again, this match can be so easy to really push to the end at times. So even full capping, but holding or getting it to 0 seconds, if you're Throwing Her Bad, you can't feel that bad about that scenario, especially with how good point 1 and 2 went for Insidious.
Definitely not. They were able to hold them for about 4 minutes there on point C, which is really good for Kings Row standards. Throwing Her Bad definitely should be happy about that, but Insidious just had that little bit of clutch factor at the end to be able to bring it back, and they had some really good plays to be able to bring it back in their favor. But now Throwing Her Bad have a challenge. They have to try and finish Kings Row at least with a minute in the time bank to try and make sure that they can still be in this game, or else we could be hitting a situation where Throwing Her Bad might be saying goodbye to this match and losing it here on map 3. It's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do. Right now we see on the defense for the side of Insidious, interesting composition with the Ball Sigma composition again. They're running pretty much the exact same thing that the enemy team ran, or what Throwing Her Bad ran, except they're running the ball instead of the Orisa. So obviously going to have a lot less shield usage and a lot more disruption. But Throwing Her Bad, they're just wanting to stick with the stock standard brawl composition. I think it's going to be a little hard for them considering that double shield can do a lot of poke.
Double shield can do a lot of poke here.
Or at least your Ball Sigma.
You know, for the Ball Sigma, or yeah, pardon me, we're on Ball Sigma, you're absolutely right. But here we go now, the brawl composition, and this is classic Kings Row moment here. But as I say that, they're kind of just hanging out here. And here comes the wholesale switches now for Throwing Her Bad.
Yep, switching back over to this Orisa Brig, which I think is the good move. You are now going to be able to make it so Hype can't get as much value on this Wrecking Ball as they would want. So this is a chance here for Throwing Her Bad to take advantage of this situation, be able to get these massive picks that could turn the tide into their favor. So we'll see if it's able to work here. But already using an Immortality Field early is going to be probably detrimental for them.
Definitely, but here we go now. Hype swung through, almost taken down, but manages to get out just in time. But Krev finds Pokemon XY. That's going to open things up here for Throwing Her Bad to finally get the point pressure on. And Charlie takes down Hype as well. Hype getting a little bit caught out there. And it's tough right now for Insidious. They're trying to find windows of opportunity, but it seems like every time they slightly poke out, Patient hits a huge halt. And then from there, it's just all in the favor of Throwing Her Bad.
I also want to give a big shout out to Pro Gamer with these walls right now. They were able to wall off the one entrance that Insidious were trying to get through so they could touch the point. Make it so there were only really 2 avenues that Insidious could use to try and get those picks out. Really good play there from Pro Gamer. It's not really often to see those big Maywall plays, but in that moment, it worked into the favor of Throwing Her Bad, and now they're trying to set up an attack here. But you see Pro Gamer in the bar looking for that perfect blizzard. And it gets
the perfect blizzard is just a meal for Scenic. Scenic has eaten so many ultimates that it seems like so far. But Scenic finds a big pickoff there, and now the copy in from Pokemon XY onto the May, looking to get a blizzard of their own. Question is can Shim find the same dinner as Scenic? But Shim cannot. And the May is pushing forward from Pokemon XY, and here comes the Bob, the unrelenting aggression right now from all of Insidious as they continue to push on. Stinky's Bob is dropped quickly though by Throwing or Bad, and here comes the rally as as Charlie leads the charge forward for Throwing Her Bad, trying to will Throwing Her Bad forward, but Patient is dropped before they're able to clear the corner, and Crab taken down by Stinky. Stinky is just doing so much right now for Insidious.
Yeah, Throwing Her Bad were able to stabilize there in the bookstore, but it just wasn't enough. The rally did push them in, but it was just an alt fiesta coming out from the side of Insidious that got them the win there. But take note, look at their ult banks. They don't have a lot, and that's a big pick onto Pokemon XY. That means that the res is not going to be in play here for Insidious for the next 30 seconds. This is an opportunity here for Throwing Her Bad to try and push into this. They have some big ults. The Blizzard's back online. They also have this drum in window here, so there's going to be a lot of damage flying around, and this could be a one fight here for Throwing Her Bad if they play their cards correctly.
And here comes the self-destruct, not finding anything, but Krev finds Yukio, and that is a huge pickup. And Stinky again! Stinky has been absolutely in control this entire map so far. And right now, for Throwing Her Bad, you got a great first push, a great cap, a great early time bank, but they can't push through this choke.
Yeah, it's definitely an issue to try and push through this choke, and I feel like that bomb engage was just a little bit too, over-ambitious. They tried to get some big picks with Chimanzi's bomb, but it got stuck behind the payload. The only pick it would have probably gotten was Ukio and Ana, and they died first to Crib before the bomb actually came out. So really, the bomb engage didn't really work in their favor, but they still have this Blizzard and window online, so there still is potential here for Throwing Her Bad to try and make this move. But they have to try and come up with a different plan. They're going to try to go this high ground route, and they've already lost Krev.
Already lost Krev again. Pokemon XY now on the copy as well. Here comes the Diva Bomb in, and that is not finding anything, but there's a big lift there from Scenic as well. The damage is done, and if you look at the health bars are just all firmly, sitting around full for Insidious, and they were just struggling to be kept up for Throwing Her Bad. It's not a slight on the healers, it's just all that damage right now for Insidious is just absolutely oppressive.
But I want to make note that Insidious used 3 big ults in that fight. They used the Bob, they used the Duplicate, they used the Flux. That means they're not going to have a lot for this next fight. All they have is the Valkyrie and the Mines that just came out from Hype, so this is a potential for Throwing Her Bad to try and bring this into their favor. As both those ults I just mentioned from Insidious, they're already used.
All the ults are already used. That was a good, right now for Throwing Her Bad, this is a great opportunity to really push forward, and Krev finds Yukio, losing that Zenyatta early on, very big. Krev finds a second onto Hype as well. Krev is making a lot of plays right now, trying to keep Throwing Her Bad into this match as they continue to push forward the streets, through the streets of King's Row with 1 minute 15 seconds on the clock. And here comes the amplification matrix now from Smarties as well. The damage being put through that window is tremendous. Blizzard now in for Pro Gamer, trying to open up something else as Krev finds Hype. And the kills continue to come in now, but they are all in the favor of Throwing Her Bad as they take point B.
Might have been a little overinvestment there from Throwing Her Bad. They did use both the Blizzard and the High Noon to try and push into that point, along with Smarty's window. But at the end of the day, if it works, it works, and it worked there for Throwing Her Bad. They're going to be able to continue pushing this card. They're still trying to push, getting those last-minute kills onto Ukio. So this is big here for Throwing Her Bad. They have an opportunity to try and push this card as fast as possible. They only have 2 minutes to try and cap it, but it is still possible. I would honestly, if I were them, try to take this dry fight, because you look on the other side, they have those big ults again. The Duplicate and the Flux are up, and they have the Transcendence. So it's possible here for Insidious to win this, so we'll see what the move is.
And here comes the ultimate now. Scenic takes down Krev, and that is finally some stabilization here set in here as that card continues to push forward. A nice stabilizing here from from Insidious, and that's exactly what the doctor ordered with only 1 minute 30 seconds left. We're probably looking at one, maybe 1.5 one fight, an ugly fight here right now for throwing her bad. So you're in a tough spot here. You're going in for the match is on the line at this point. You have to win this next fight.
I think the big impactful thing right now is Chimanzi got his mech back, and also Hype was found in the back line, had to use that shielding to get out of there, but still, Chimanzi able to get that mech back means that they'll be able to use this Diva Bomb much earlier and get that 2K bomb.
Great Diva Bomb, a clutch Diva Bomb from Chimanzi. Takes down Smart, and Smarties finds Hype as well, so that is going to set up throwing her bad to really finally push forward here. Here comes the Transcendence, trying to help stabilize this out, and the copy now in from Pokemon XY, but immediately taken out of that copy. And what time is it, Cassidy? It is high noon, says Krev, as he finds Sorcerer as well, and the cart is continuing to push through, and that will be the cart, and throwing or bad gets it with 41 additional seconds in the time bank here. So we are looking at one of those classic Kings Row scenarios. Both teams have full pulled, and both teams will get a chance at a second attack here in Overtime Overwatch.
Definitely crucial there for throwing her bad to get that extra 41 seconds, because we saw how, like, a little bit it took for them to start to get situated on that attack. That 41 seconds could mean you can get a comp swap and be able to get an extra fight, or maybe get an extra fight in, depending on what you decide to run. So that is crucial here for throwing her bad. They have the opportunity to take this map, but we saw how well Insidious did on their attack. We saw how well they were able to just push that cart once they got that point. If throwing her bad are not careful, they could be facing a very dire situation where they have to try and full cap Kings Row again, or at least push the cart farther than they really would want to. Right now, they're setting up for that sort of style that they have in the defense, except they're not running the Pharah this time that we saw them run right now. They're running a Mei. They're running pretty much the exact comp we saw them run on the attack. The Orisa Diva, Cassidy Mei, Brigitte Baptiste, which has worked. It's been able to be a stabilizing composition. It pretty much is like a stabilizing brawl composition. It's not meant to really go up into the face, but it's meant to just group together, stay stabilized, and be able to counter against a dive composition, which Insidious are currently showing. So this could work into the favor of throwing her bad. They have a minute to hold. They might just be able to hold it.
They have a minute to hold, and I honestly, if they can put up a defense here and hold it here, that is a huge momentum changer, really, for this whole match potentially. If throwing her bad can pull off the full hold here, but what a biotic grenade finds Patient and Krebs. We do see the immortality field though put in, which is going to keep them up through that. And Charlie finds Hype, and Scenic is demeched as well. So a great re-push there after that tough biotic grenade. So absolutely massive.
And Scenic getting staggered there means there's going to be a lot less time here for Insidious to be able to set up here. They only have the 20 seconds, maybe 15 to get this pushed when they actually get their Diva online. So it's going to be rougher here, but they're switching over to the stock standard brawl. This is going to be able to counter the composition that we see throwing her bad running out. Oh, but Hype gets caught on the other side of the wall. That could have been detrimental.
It could have been bad, but it was well handled there. And another wall, but it's not able to really push anything. The tick is going up here, and they do get a tick. That is a huge tick for Insidious, and the kills right now are trading, and a trade will work in the favor of Insidious as they continue to push this one through. And this is an opportunity now for Insidious to really rack up some point pressure. We see Smarties go down to the point, and that's going to be the end of it here for throwing her bad, and Insidious is going to push through this point.
And right now, throwing her bad, they're going to be a little bit of trouble. Smarties and Chimanzi got the long spawn, so they're going to take a little bit to be able to come back to this fight. They've already decided to hold by point B so that they're able to get the team together and make sure that if Insidious want to push, they have to push all the way up to them and push very far away from the rest of their team, and it could cost them card progress. So we're going to see what the plan is here from throwing her bad. They just need to win one fight, and they have some ults coming online to be able to do it. It's all going to come down to the ult play, and if they're able to bait out Insidious in that ult game. So we'll see what they decide to do. Looks like they're holding the bar.
I'm looking to Scenic. They've been at the buffet all day. Will Scenic come up big again and find another ultimate? They do not this time. And it's a good blizzard there from Throw Gamer. Gonna open things up for throwing her bad. And look at all the kills now. It's all blue in the kill feed. Diva Bomb is in now. Did find a target. Pardon me, as Hype is taken down. And that is the end of the hype here for Insidious. But Insidious, they capped the point. They got a little progression. You gotta love that situation right now if you're sitting in Insidious's shoes.
Definitely. That 60.79 meters that Insidious just made on that push could make a huge difference in the long run. That 60.79 meters could make sure that Throwing Her Bad do not win this map and lose the series overall. So right now, Insidious, they have to be looking at this with a really good situation and really being able to feel that win right now in their grasp. They just have to hold Throwing Her Bad back, which could not work in their favor depending on what Throwing Her Bad decided to run. I want to give a little shout out because it may not have been caught, but Charlie ended up bashing Hype out of the Rhine Shield, so he was able to get caught by that Diva Bomb from Chimanzi. That's how they were able to get that bomb kill, and that was massive. That was a really good kill. But now we're heading into the final attack here for the side of Throwing Her Bad. This is all do or die right now. As we see right now, the compositions, Insidious want to go for this stock standard brawl composition. And on the other side of Throwing Her Bad, they're also showing that stock standard brawl. Do they switch off of this expecting something different, or do we see them just stick with the brawl here, Yeti?
I would expect them to stick with the brawl. I think in this, especially in overtime Overwatch, I feel like brawl is so fast paced. It's so easy to end fights quickly. I feel like you want to go the brawl here and just run it down mid, because at the very least, you're more than likely to get 2 engagements here on brawl, and it's so easy to build up that, especially that ultimate, that immortality, or sorry, the amplification matrix from Smarties. That should build up super quickly. So I do like running the brawl here, and I think you just run it down mid, and you just kind of hope that you outskill him here. But what a really interesting approach here coming out of the cafe, and that is going to be a huge freeze on pretty much the entirety of Throwing Her Bad. But Rev finds the kills, and that's both DPS now down for Insidious. I mean, it was an outstanding freeze from Pokemon XY, but nobody capitalized.
There was a crucial error there on the side of Stinky. They were not with the rest of their team when they pushed in that hotel room. He was on a flank angle to try and get any sort of kills. Krev noticed that and killed them immediately. So great job there by Krev to notice that Stinky was not with the rest of their team and take advantage of that. So now, Throwing Her Bad, they will have a little bit of time to push this cart. They may be able to get an extra fight out of this, but you already see that Insidious, they want to hold close and they want to win this game right here.
They do. The Insidious right now sitting at 40 seconds on the clock. There's a couple different approaches here. You can take a fight early and make them basically have to play and panic, and if they're kind of a respawn refight here, or you wait until that clock hits double zeros and you win one fight with a full of ultimates. The problem is if you wait that long right now, if you're Insidious, there's a lot of ultimates coming up, and Krev right now pops the big Deadeye, and that's a huge one, finds both Hype and Pokemon XY, and there's a third now with Scenic being taken down. Amplification Matrix is in, the sound barrier now put in by Charlie as well, and Patient swings the hammer through the entirety of Insidious, and Insidious, they're all down. 3 on the cart right now for Throwing Her Bad, and Throwing Her Bad will not be throwing this map away, as it looks like Kings Row will go into their scoreboard, and now we're sitting at a 2-1 match, Bowsy.
Patient, being patient with their shield, keeping it up was the play factor there. It blocked Hype's Shatter, making it so Krev could get that double Deadeye kill to bring it in the favor of Throwing Her Bad. Great patience there from Throwing Her Bad to be able to make that work. They came out with the brawl comp and showed that they were willing to do it. The play of the game obviously going to Hype on that ball, which, yes, that was a 3K there on the ending point of Kings Row. So really good job there from Insidious to be able to hold that. But still, Throwing Her Bad showing that they are not willing to give up that easily. They want to try to make this match close, and they are willing to take the victory here. Now we're heading into our escort map soon, which this is going to have to be Insidious's choice, their first map choice of the series. They decided to choose Junkertown, which is a very long-range map. I think this is the right choice if I were Insidious right now, Yeti.
I would agree. I think it's the right map choice here. You're putting a lot of pressure onto really the hit scans in this. We've seen Ostinky and Krev both equally have just fantastic nights tonight at different times, and I expect them really to have that duel here on Junkertown. It's going to really set the tone as well. With Insidious, Case Stelly's Wrecking Ball was fantastic on the first 2 maps. They're running with Hype now on these last 2 maps as well, which I think is the right move. The Throwing Her Bad is going to come in here with the same lineup. I expect to see Patient on that Wrecking Ball. I expect to see Stramancy on the Diva as well. Here we go, guys. We're staring map 5 in the face, and if you're Throwing Her Bad, you got to be feeling pretty good at taking Kings Row there.
Absolutely, you have to be feeling good about that win on Kings Row, because that's going to start the momentum trend. Insidious had a lot of chances to win that, and they just couldn't clutch it out when it mattered. This is a team that's been able to clutch out a lot. They weren't able to clutch it out there, and now Thoringer Bad have a chance to ride that momentum straight to map 4, straight into map 5, and into a reverse sweep in this series, which could be very big for them. Right now on Junkertown, as we're about to see the compositions, Thoringer Bad right now showing that Orisa on the defense end. I am very concerned about the attack, good comp I see right now on Insidious's attack, but that might change. But we'll see if it works right now. We're going to be seeing Krev and Pro Gamer on the Tracer and Hanzo respectively, which what you expect from Junkertown is that sort of combination of both poke and spam, and that's exactly what we're probably going to be seeing here from the side of Thoringer Bad. This can work. They could probably bring this into their favor here.
It could definitely work. I think it's a good move. I've played enough ranked in my time to absolutely hate when my team has a Roadhog, especially because I'm not a Roadhog player. But in organized play, pulling the Roadhog out, especially on this map, I like it. I like the Roadhog play, and again, I expected to see the hit scan duel, and of course, we're not getting that because I cursed it, I guess. So Krev out on this Tracer with the Pro Gamer Hanzo. I don't necessarily love that comp selection, but that's just my take. I don't think the Pro Gamer Hanzo is the play here, but that's just this caster's opinion. I feel like you stick with what Pro Gamer has been doing well so far, but as I say that, Chimanzi finds Sorcerer. Chimanzi is taken out of mech as well, but Sorcerer is down, and losing that Mercy early means there's going to be a lot of card progress right now.
Absolutely, that means you are already down one of your heroes. Your other hero being the Zenyatta, which is not really known for healing a lot, more so known for a damage flex support, but still can get that healing out, albeit in little micro sections. So we'll see what the move is here from Insidious as they've got this cart pretty much in between these two houses. You already see Hype trying to go for a flank on that Roadhog and almost gets burnt down. That could have been detrimental for Insidious.
It could absolutely be. But right now, Insidious has that Roadhog out front, missing on the hook, not finding him. Pokemon XY with the big kill on the Smarties means now lots of healing now down for Thoringer Bad. They peel back towards the doorway here, trying to stabilize a bit as health pools are dwindling down. Pro Gamer trying to find a kill, cannot, but Chimanzi is demech as Yukio finishes off that mech. And now here comes the reset in. The reinforcement is coming back as Patient gets ready to roll back out. And here comes the Dragon Strike from Pro Gamer, not finding any kills as Hype just heals their way through it. But Hype pays the price for the hubris a little bit there as Charlie finishes them off. And here comes Bob in from Pokemon XY. The kills are being traded, but the trades are now going strictly in the favor of Uh-Oh Stinky and Pokemon XY for Insidious. And they push through, taking this one. And first point A on Junkertown pushed through 4 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock.
Pokemon XY has been making a lot of weird angle plays, and I am all for it. They have been making very weird pick angles. They've been going on places that you wouldn't expect an Ash to be, and it's been working. They were able to get that first pick on the Smarties, which started that push there for Insidious, and they were able to use that Bob in the backline of Thoringer Bad. So right now, Pokemon XY doing a really good job, and that kill on a Chimanzi is just going to make it a lot harder here for Thoringer Bad to be able to continue trying to hold this.
Right now, Pokemon XY is doing a fantastic job helping push through for Insidious right now. Insidious is in control, but here we go right now with Thoringer Bad trying to find the right angle to push out at here. It looks like they are going to go underneath through the outside low ground, and here comes the window along with the Pongo. I don't believe that damage stacks, Bowsy, but what do I know? I could be wrong on that. If Patient pushed, Patient does find the kill, but here comes the tack visor from Uh-Oh Stinky, but Uh-Oh Stinky is just Uh-Oh on the hook, and that is Chimanzi finishing off Uh-Oh Stinky with the huge hook, and that stabilizes things now for Thoringer Bad, and now Insidious, they have a really tough cart to push.
Definitely interesting there to see Insidious continue investing into that fight when both of their supports died first at the hands of Pro Gamer. Hype, solo whole hogs, Hype is in the back line of Thoringer Bad right now. They are all the way in the back line trying to keep out the rest of the team, and you know what's working? Insidious is starting to push the cart now.
Insidious getting a little bit of cart push with that Bob. The Bob certainly opened up a lot of space. Here comes the Dragon Strike now coming in from Pro Gamer from long range, finds out it was Stinky, and it actually forces Transcendence out from Yukio. The res in now from Sorcerer gets Uh-Oh Stinky up off the ground. And that's going to be enough for for Insidious to push through. And Insidious takes this one, and 4 minutes on the clock for point 3. A great attack so far.
Yeah, Insidious has just been able to make use of this chaotic composition with the Roadhog Sigma. Hype is there distracting, trying to get any sort of picks, and the rest of the team is grouped up, being able to try and get these necessary card progress and be able to try to find any picks that Hype is enabling for the team. So, great job here from Insidious to be able to make use of this. It's so much that Chimanzi has switched over to their own Roadhog, so now we get a Roadhog duel here on the final point of Junkertown. You don't see this in your average Overwatch games, but this is Tranquility. Anything can happen here.
Yeah, absolutely.
We do see right now that the enemy team of Insidious are just trying to wait for the perfect opportunity. Throwing a bed, looking for that opportunity, and they have to be careful because Hype is still in the back line. Now you see the fight going on, and Pokemon XY finds that first crucial pick onto Kreb, and the rest of the picks going in favor here for the side of Insidious. They've been able to get a lot of big picks. Uh-oh, Stinky, Pokemon XY, and even Yukio showing up in the kill feed, and that's all that Insidious are going to right there. They're going to be able to push this card toward its last meters. There's only a few meters left here for Throwing a Bad. They got to try to come on a plan quickly. You see here, the next point coming in. Throwing a Bad need to try and come up with some sort of strategy as they're pushing into this final area, and Pro Gamer gets that massive pickup onto Pokemon XY. That's a big start. Make that 2 for Pro Gamer, but uh-oh, Stinky finds the Deadeye onto Patient. Still though, Insidious have to try and back out. Kreb is finding this kill onto Yukio, and now it's pretty much hard here for Insidious to try and win this. Uh-oh, Stinky is in the back line, tries to get a kill off onto Pro Gamer, and will, but at the cost of his own life, and just like that, it looks like it's going to be somehow Insidious starting to bring this back. Pokemon XY has gotten 2 on the Sash, and Insidious push the cart through, Throwing her bad, unable to push when it mattered the most, and that's gonna be the cap there for the other side. So definitely a good push there from the side of Insidious to be able to bring that back.
Appreciate the solo casting there for a second. My throat decided it didn't want to cast anymore all of a sudden, so I do apologize for that, everybody. But nonetheless, 2 minutes and 13 seconds on the clock for Insidious in an extremely impressive push, trying to lock up a 3-1 victory now. Insidious looking to, and Throwing her bad, looking to have to bounce back here. They'll need a full pull, and they'll need to do it quick. Tough spot right now for Throwing her bad, but Insidious looked fantastic, led by that DPS line. Pokemon XY and uh-oh Stinky have been stellar so far tonight.
Absolutely. They've been doing a really good job here for the side of Insidious. They've just been able to get those picks when it mattered the most. Oh, Stinky did make a very risky flank there on the Cassidy to try and get into the backline, but it was able to force out Throwing her bad into situations that they wouldn't want to be in normally, and it cost them. They had to move. They had to restructure themselves and be able to bring themselves into that situation that they couldn't be in. But now we're on the defense here for the side of Insidious. They're going to be continuing on the exact same composition that they're running. The Hog Sig, Cassidy Ash, Zen Mercy. What does Throwing her bad do here? They're going to be running an Orisa Hog of their own, but will it be enough to be able to counter this comp?
And what I do like the Orisa Hog personally. I think the Orisa is a better pushing tool than the Sigma. But again, the Sigma works so well. Patient has been really good on that Orisa so far tonight as well. So I think from my perspective, but it doesn't matter when Pokemon just hit shots. You know, sometimes it's just a matter of just hitting your shots.
Exactly. Pokemon XY getting that first kill off onto Kreb there. It's going to be interesting to see what the move is here, as you see that Halt Hook tried to go in favor for the side of Throwing her bad, but they were unable to execute it fully. Just a slow engage right now. Pokemon XY is on this flank angle, trying to get those dynamites, trying to get those picks that could make the difference. But right now it's challenging for them, as Throwing her bad is starting to make that engage here, so we'll see if it's able to work. Pro Gamer has to be careful, however, because Hype has a thirst for blood here on this Roadhog and wants to try and get that Hanzo out of the picture. And he will. Yep, the Hanzo's dead.
Hanzo is dead. Pokemon XY just, but beyond that, Pokemon XY now finding 3 kills. And that is just insane. You know, I shouldn't have talked trash about Gen 6. I think I ignited something, because I actually personally take the blame.
Yeah, when you talk trash about a certain Pokemon generation, someone will come back and decide to prove you wrong. And Pokemon XY has done exactly that thus far. But now it's going to be a little bit challenge here for the side of Throwing her bad, as they're having a comp swap. Pro Gamer switching over to the Genji, and Chimanzi switching over to the Diva here. So they're running pretty much a standard like spam composition, but the Genji, what am I saying? Genji is anything but standard. We'll see if it works here, as it will enable them to be a little more dive heavy, but it will be dependent on how well Pro Gamer is able to notice all those targets that are out of position.
And here comes the Bob now for Pokemon XY, but is immediately taken down by Patient, which is going to open up a little bit of space here finally for Throwing Her Bad. The Pro Gamer's taken down on this Genji. I just don't like the Genji play right now. I don't think it's good at all.
Did you say that? But already kills are going in favor here for the side of Throwing Her Bad. They were able to get 2, but Pokemon XY gets that kill onto Krevin. It's going to be a little bit harder now that Pokemon XY is just reigning supreme on this Ash. Gets the kill onto Chimanzi's mech as well. So looking harder here for the side of Throwing Her Bad. And Pro Gamer gets hooked and killed again by Hype. That is the second time in a row that Genji has been killed like that. The drum invested by Patient and the trans invested by Smarties after Scenic used the Gravitic Flux. Throwing Her Bad wants to invest into this, but they need to try and find some sort of way to do it. That's a big pick, however, to Hype. That's your engager if I've ever seen it.
That's a big one right there for on the Hype. It's gonna definitely set up a couple things here for Throwing Her Bad, or for Throwing Her Bad. And Krev, Bob does get in there as well. Finds Scenic, and then finally something going in the favor of Throwing Her Bad. It looks like here the Mercy's pushing out on their own. The blaster in play, but Charlie decides that it's my turn. I am the Death Mercy, and I am the Angel of Death. And there goes there goes Sorcerer down from that, and there goes the card. 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So there's still definitely a good amount of time here on the clock for Throwing Her Bad.
Definitely. Throwing Her Bad have a lot of opportunities here to try and push this, especially after capping that first point, which is very hard here on Junkertown because it's so open. Now they have a lot more closed space. It's going to be a lot harder for people like Ostinky and Pokemon XY to find these sort of crucial headshots unless they're in the proper line of sight. It might be easier here for Pro Gamer to get those sort of flanks, but it's definitely going to be easier for Hype to get those hooks onto players like Chimanzi and ruin those Diva mechs. So it's going to be a little bit harder here for the side of Throwing Her Bad, but we'll see what the move is here from them as they've already lost that Diva mech.
Pro Gamer, that is not a Pro Gamer move. Oh, right now, and look at all the angles right now that Insidious has, taking all the high ground away from Throwing Her Bad. If you're stuck in that corner right now, you are not loving it, and that is a tough spot for Patient. Does find Hype, however, Hype gets a little too greedy. And look at this right now, Throwing Her Bad, they rally back. Despite it, everything seemed to be against them. They found a way to stabilize it, and they're pushing forward now.
Yeah, Insidious, I think, just got a little bit too greedy, and they pushed forward thinking that the fight was already won, but Throwing Her Bad were able to restabilize, pump in the damage to Hype and the rest of the members to be able to bring that back. Scenic wants to invest this Gravitic Flux here, and all it's going to catch is Patient, who had the Fortify to be able to cancel that. Ukio also investing the trance here. This is very questionable for Insidious. They are still wanting to commit to this.
They are committing to this, and Sticky finds Krev as well. The Diva Bomb in, not finding anything right now for Throwing Her Bad. And we see right now is Charlie does manage to get Krev off the ground, but
the Bob.
It's just that the Bob's now in for both Ashes, but it doesn't seem like we're just at a stalemate right now. The stalemate will continue to favor Insidious.
Yeah, because Insidious will have these close respawns in the aftermath. Pro Gamer just deflected Hype's shot with the hook. Oh my god. You don't see that every day here on Tranquility, but here we are. But still, Insidious will be able to get the hold here. And now, Throwing Her Bad, they need to try and figure out what to do here because they're all still staggering. Chimanzi is now stuck on the Baby Diva in the backline of Insidious. Pro Gamer still wants to get some sort of pick damage. It's going to be harder and harder if you're going to push, and they only have a minute on the clock, Yeti.
Pro Gamer does manage to get that Dragon Blade now, though, which is going to set up an opportunity with that ultimate. The problem is, all they need, they don't have any support. They don't have a nano. I don't know. I still don't think that Genji's the play, but I mean, then again, Pro Gamer's made a couple of big plays here. Now they have an opportunity. They're pushing forward onto the Sigma. They're running out of time, though, but Scenic is taken down. Good aggression by Throwing Her Bad. The Pro Gamer very low. Doesn't manage to stay up. And here comes the Dragon Blade. They push through two with the dash. Pro Gamer proving me wrong. And the Caster Curse comes to fruition here for Insidious as Throwing Her Bad will push this 2-point lead, but they will do it with very little time left on that time bank.
Definitely. Throwing Her Bad, they have to try and push this card flawlessly for this final point. And it's going to be hard considering the ME team is going to have those ults for these next few fights. They have a minute and 30 on the clock, but it's going to be pretty much reduced when it comes to the next fight unless Insidious decide to immediately throw out all of these ults at the exact same time, which to their credit, they've been doing that a lot, but they have all 6 ults building up, so it's going to be hard for them to try and really lose here right now. Throwing her bad in a very rough situation, but it's still winnable if they bait out these ults correctly.
Here comes the Bob now from Pokemon XY. That is going to slow down very briefly. Throwing more bad. But Chimanzi does finish off the Bob, and again, hype goes down on the Roadhog as Pro Gamer is now pushing forward. Pro Gamer again proving me wrong with the Genji as they're close to yet another Dragon Blade. A huge deflect sets up that kill on the Pokemon XY. Pro Gamer right now pushes forward on this Genji with Trev getting a huge kill. Now the Bob in play as well, and the push continues for Throwing Your Bat. Bowsy, Throwing Your Bat is very much in this game.
Yeah, they definitely are. This Genji seeming to be working as now I say that Pro Gamer dies, but you see Stinky in the backline with that tactical visor could make the impact, and Pokemon XY has found 2 on this Ash, and the res goes back up on the Scenic. It's looking rougher here, Mr. Yeti, and the kills are going in favor of Insidious.
Insidious held on just long enough. They used that distraction because, Stinky did not find any kills, but it did release a lot of pressure on their front line as they tried to push out a spawn, and it forced Throwing Your Bad to have to kind of reset a bit. And because of that, they were able to pick off a few kills. Right now, if you're Throwing Her Bad, you don't have your Zenyatta with you, and your Zenyatta's about to get picked off by a Roadhog. Here comes the Dragon Blade Pro Gamer, but he's 1 health and now dead. But Chimanzi finds 2 with that huge self-destruct. Bowsy, despite everything, it looks like Throwing Her Bad is going to push this cart through and get the full pull.
Round 2.
Definitely big for Throwing Her Bad. That should not have looked winnable for a lot of that situation. It did not look winnable at all, yet they still were able to push through sheer determination, through sheer anything that they had, and be able to get the point, be able to push it all the way to the end, so they get an extra minute in the time bank, but that's all they get to try and push this cart, which could be detrimental if they have that bad hold like we saw on the first point of Junkertown. So now, the ball is in Insidious' field. You either hold Throwing Her Bad a lot here on this first point, or you risk going to a map 5 and potentially getting reverse swept in this series. Right now with the comps showing up, as we've seen so far with this entire map, the enemy team is running the Hog Sigma composition, which I don't blame them. This Hog Sigma has been very destructive, but has worked through most of this map.
The Hog Sigma's worked pretty well for Hype and Scenic, but it is worth noting Hype's been caught out several times trying to engage onto Throwing Her Bad, which has set up Throwing Her Bad for some big pushes. The thing is in overtime fights, that spawn timer gets really long. So as this continues to go on, Hype needs to play way more conservative, it seems, and stay with the team more. And because those flank angles, while they do pick off some nice kills every now and then, they did effectively cost their team several fights. So it's very risk reward playing this Roadhog here, especially in an overtime phase. If you get those early picks, you can get a really early card progression here. But Trev now out on the Widowmaker. Finally, a little bit of Widowmaker play here as Trev locks in, looking to click some heads of Insidious. And Pro Gamer on the Farmercy. We've seen, again, the Pro Gamer Farmercy is very much in play, but he's facing down double hit scan, and that's not a good sign.
Definitely not. This double hit scan is going to provide a lot of pressure here to Pro Gamer. They're going to have both supports try to really focus down Pro Gamer here with the Zen Orb and the Mercy Pocket for this Pharah. It can work if they're able to pump into the damage, but it's going to be hard here, especially with that double hit scan. We'll see if it works into their favor. But you already see, look at how much this card has moved as Pro Gamer gets his first life taken away.
Pro Gamer is taken down, and that is a lot of kills now for Insidious. Throwing Her Bad, looking to stabilize here. They will have reinforcements coming in, but Smarties gets greedy and gets taken down. The reinforcements are starting to come in. Chimanzi did find Hype. That's 1 kill down, but Pro Gamer, the only one left on the cart, and is taken down as well. There's nobody left who can get there in time for Throwing Her Bad, and they have a very tough challenge coming up here, Bowsy. I don't know. This is a tough spot right now for Throwing Her Bad.
Definitely is. 78 meters is not that great on Junkertown, especially in that opening section for first point. You have to be careful if you are Throwing Her Bad. You have to hold off the enemy team for 3 minutes. It's been done before, but it is super difficult here on Junkertown to hold it for that long. But we've seen amazing things from Throwing Her Bad before. This is winnable. It's just not as winnable as they probably would want. They probably wanted that card to be able to move much farther. but they still got 78 meters out of it. It's better than nothing, but they have to be setting up for this next fight. And also, I like the patience there from Insidious. They waited until the timer was starting to tick down a lot before they started fully engaging onto that. Yes, they were trying to pick out Pro Gamer on the Pharah, but they were also waiting in the backline for that perfect moment. This might work into their favor if they're able to keep that patience going. They might be able to get this working. Same thing can go for the enemy side of Thoringer Bad. As we head into the defense, Thoringer Bad want to go for the close hold brawl composition. They are going all in. It's do or die right now for Thoringer Bad, and they think if we are going to be winning this match, we're going to be doing it with this brawl composition. But I think Insidious might know because they have that Hanzo.
They do have the Hanzo here from Ostinky. You know, the close hold is the right play for sure here. You gotta try to take some time off that clock, but it is going to be counted out here. And they do, unfortunately, the cart gets moving. So despite the close hold open, they do actually get the kill on the hype. So it is going to set up them now to be able to close hold here. They can hold in this building, but Chimanzi gets caught out and inexcusably taken down. That is a tough kill right there for Insidious. Taking down Chimanzi, and now Hype is going to be able to move that cart, and Hype is just sitting on the cart. Again, the close hold only works if you stop the cart throwing her bad. But the Pokemon XY is taken down, and they do actually, it does look like they're going to get a little bit of stabilization here as they try to keep pushing the cart. But again, the cart, that little bit of progression forces this close hold slightly further away from spawn door, which opens up a few more angles for Insidious.
Absolutely. Thoringer Bad have to be really careful about this. Now they're trying to move out so they can try to get this close hold, and already lost Kreb because they had to move, they had to rotate, they had to make that sort of bad move. And now Pokemon XY is going to have free reign because there's no hit scan on the enemy side to be able to deal with them.
But Hype again gets caught out. We've seen that so often. Hype getting repeatedly caught out on this Roadhog. We see Pokemon XY on the Farmers getting a lot of damage in, but not able to find any kills. The barrage is coming very soon, though, for Pokemon XY, and we look to that to see if they can open up the fight. And here goes the barrage. They do find Patient, and that is going to open things up now for Insidious, but Chimanzi is able to mitigate a bunch of that, but Pokemon XY finding more kills. And now throwing her bad, you gotta crash the cart, die on the cart, and that's exactly what they're doing. And right now, for Insidious, get 3 on the cart and ride that thing all the way to that golden box of victory.
Yeah, Insidious are gonna have to fight off the enemy team one more time, and Patient's gonna get found because of a Sonic Arrow coming out from Stinky. That could be detrimental if he dies, but looks like he's gonna be able to save, but that Dragon Strike's just gonna cause problems, and you lose the May!
No.
They have the Blizzard ready! Pro Gamer won't be able to use the Blizzard in this fight!
An absolute travesty right there as the cart continues to push forward. We are exactly 1.9 meters away. The Diva Bomb now from Chimanzi trying to pick off some of Insidious, but the kills are still coming in for Insidious as Scenic finishes off 2 more. Chimanzi, the last bastion of hope on the point. The Blizzard used and just not able to really do anything as Insidious closes out this one. They will take this match 3-1, besting Throwing or Bad.
We talked about first impressions. Insidious had to make a lot of first impressions in this match, and I think they did a really good job of that. Being able to win this series against established Tranquility community veterans is massive. Being able to show their skill to the utmost maximum in this series and be able to bring it into their favor is really good, and we now know what Insidious is capable of, and we now know that you do not want to fear this team. If they are on the right foot and they're able to make those moves, they will shut you down in any situation they can. Wonderful play from Insidious to be able to take the series. Throwing or Bad had their moments, but in the end, Insidious just had that little bit of clutch factor to be able to bring it into their favor.
They did. They just had those little extra moments, those little things they needed. Pokemon XY, Stinky making some big plays all night tonight. Pro Gamer definitely looked fantastic on the side of Throwing or Bad, but tonight it was all about Insidious making that statement victory here, introducing themselves to the Tranquility game, or to Tranquility Gaming, and saying we are here and we are an absolute threat in any match you find us in. Bowsy, was there any one specific player that you wanted to give recognition to tonight?
You already mentioned them, but I'm going to have to give it to Stinky because they just were really good in every single map that they played. They were able to make those big moves throughout the entire series. They had a lot of standout moments. Definitely was a really good player overall. And I can see why Insidious decided to have them for 3 of these 4 maps. I would say my player of the match goes to Stinky on that DPS line.
I would agree with that personally. I think Stinky was the standout tonight. But again, we are about to wrap up here tonight. We do have 2 more programs coming up this week. We have the feature match tomorrow in the Discord tier that is Rift taking on Rampaging Inferno. And then following that, we'll have the Beat Drop, where we'll be interviewing members of Tranquility Gaming and getting their takes and all the fun history we can learn about those guys as we move through the season. And again, if you want to catch any of Tranquility's actions that we have going on this season, be sure to hit that heart and hit that bell. Make sure to tune in every chance you can get to rack up those Trank bucks and win those giveaways coming down the line. And as we just want to give a quick shout out to Unfeatured, who is joining us tonight as our producer, and of course shout out to Bowsy as well on the fantastic analysis tonight. And we appreciate you all tuning in tonight, and we hope to see you again real soon.